In this video, we're diving into a critical moment in our nation's recent history, the India-Pakistan conflict of May 2025. This was a tense and dangerous confrontation, one that tested our resolve, our military strength, and our diplomatic strategy. As Indians, we take pride in our nation's ability to stand firm against terrorism, but this episode also revealed challenges we must address to strengthen our global standing. Let's walk through what happened, why it matters, and what we can learn. Because as a nation, we always strive to grow stronger. In early May 2025, India and Pakistan engaged in their most dangerous confrontation in decades. The trigger was a terrorist attack in Pahalgam, Kashmir, on April 22nd, which killed 26 civilians. The pain of this tragedy united us as a nation. We traced the attack to Pakistan-based militants operating from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. On May 7th, we launched Operation Sindoor, precision missile strikes on terror camps across the border. This was a decisive action to protect our people and assert our zero-tolerance policy toward terrorism. Pakistan responded with its own strikes, escalating into 4 days of intense fighting, including cross-border shelling and drone attacks. With both nations nuclear armed, the world watched with bated breath. International intervention followed swiftly. On May 10th, US President Donald Trump announced a ceasefire, claiming Washington brokered it. But let's be clear, our generals engaged in hotline talks with Pakistan, and we officially maintained that the truce was a bilateral decision reflecting our sovereignty. The ceasefire held, fragile but effective, halting the crisis. Yet it exposed serious weaknesses in our diplomatic strategy and global standing. Let's address the international response. We expected robust support for our justified response to terrorism. After all, we were defending our people against a brutal attack. But the reality was sobering. Few countries openly endorsed our strikes or condemned Pakistan. Major powers adopted neutrality, urging restraint on both sides rather than backing us. The United States condemned the Pahalgam attack and supported our right to combat terrorism, but refrained from naming Pakistan publicly. Washington called for all parties to seek peace, treating us and Pakistan as equals in the crisis. China, Pakistan's ally, called our operation regrettable and urged both sides to stay calm for regional stability. Russia, despite its friendship with us, expressed concern about the hostilities and urged restraint and diplomacy. The United Kingdom and European powers followed suit. Britain's Foreign Secretary David Lammy condemned the attack but pressed New Delhi and Islamabad for dialogue and a swift diplomatic solution. Even our South Asian neighbors stayed silent, wary of the brinkmanship. Only Israel's ambassador in New Delhi stood firmly with us, strongly backing our right to self-defense. This lack of vocal support was striking for a nation of our rising global stature, leaving our diplomats scrambling to counter Pakistan's narrative amid widespread calls for both sides to de-escalate. To address this, our government took a bold step. In mid-May, just days after the ceasefire, we sent 7 all-party parliamentary delegations to over 30 countries, including UN Security Council members, to expose Pakistan's links to terrorism and justify Operation Sindoor. Opposition leaders like Shashi Tharoor joined ruling party members in a rare show of unity, presenting a united national stance. However, this move was seen as damage control, signaling that our earlier diplomatic efforts had fallen short. Critics noted that major powers don't typically send multi-party teams to rationalize their actions. It suggested we were on the back foot. Coordination issues arose from the hurried initiative. Opposition MPs, long sidelined in foreign policy, joined for the national interest, but didn't hold back criticism. Congress leader Jairam Ramesh remarked that Prime Minister Modi's sanctimonious diplomacy has fallen flat, forcing bipartisan outreach to repair the damage. Mixed messaging further complicated things. We denied any third-party role in the ceasefire, but Trump's boasts about brokering it spread globally, creating confusion. Were we downplaying US involvement or thanking partners? At home, Modi's victory speeches clashed with the measured tone our delegates used abroad. This inconsistency weakened our case, making us appear reactive rather than proactive. Observers noted that our diplomacy seemed unprepared, scrambling to clarify our stance after global opinion had set. The neutrality of global powers was a core challenge. We expected our growing stature and victimhood from terrorism to earn strong endorsement. Instead, we faced balanced neutrality. The US, despite closer ties with us, avoided castigating Pakistan and quietly engaged Islamabad. Their push for a ceasefire stopped our campaign without a clear diplomatic victory. Trump's grandstanding, claiming credit for ending the conflict and musing about mediating on Kashmir, was a setback. We've long insisted Kashmir is a bilateral issue, but Pakistan welcomed this internationalization. While we clarified no mediation was accepted, China lamented our use of force, shading toward Pakistan's position. Russia, a friend, stayed neutral, with Putin offering condolences but urging restraint. Middle Eastern and Asian partners like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Japan condemned the attack but urged us not to escalate. This global neutrality frustrated our aim to isolate Pakistan diplomatically. Instead, the world treated the crisis as a two-sided conflict, refusing to favor either side. Rahul Gandhi highlighted that not one country unequivocally backed us in condemning Pakistan, a stark reality for a nation of our influence. At home, these diplomatic stumbles sparked intense backlash. Opposition parties, initially supportive of our counter-terror operations, criticized the government's diplomacy. Rahul Gandhi asked, "Why has India been hyphenated with Pakistan again? Why didn't a single country back us? Who asked Trump to mediate?" They argued that our rejection of third-party mediation on Kashmir was undermined by the US brokered truce, internationalizing an internal issue. Asaduddin Owaisi called it an affront that the White House announced the ceasefire. Analysts were equally critical, saying we won militarily but lost diplomatically. Our armed forces succeeded, but the abrupt ceasefire left issues unresolved. Pakistan's counterclaims gained traction globally, partly due to our less than transparent communication. Al Jazeera noted that our response, meant to project strength, exposed vulnerabilities. Even within our nationalist base, there was dismay. Former BJP lawmaker Swapan Dasgupta said the ceasefire had not gone down well because Trump's involvement felt like an overreach. Right-wing social media voices attacked our diplomats for perceived weakness, a rare critique from a patriotic base. In Parliament, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri defended our diplomacy, insisting we weren't isolated and the ceasefire was bilateral. But critics persisted. Veteran journalist Bharat Bhushan observed, "Great powers don't send delegations begging for support." Our envoy's global explanation signaled that our foreign policy swagger had been dented. This was a humbling moment. The 2025 conflict tested our diplomacy and revealed shortcomings. Militarily, we showed resolve, striking terror targets decisively. But diplomatically, we were surprisingly isolated. The world's tepid response fell short of the solidarity we sought. Our parliamentary delegations, meant to show unity, highlighted our haste and lack of prior planning. Pakistan avoided censure and leveraged mediation to its advantage, leaving us frustrated. At home, the political fallout was intense, with critics arguing that our muscular approach backfired diplomatically, eroding our hard-won capital. This episode calls for reflection. As a nation aspiring to great power status, we must pair decisive action with astute coalition building and clear communication. The 2025 conflict showed that without robust diplomatic support, even a military success can feel ambiguous. Our challenge is to learn from this, ensuring our diplomacy is as sure-footed as our military, so we're neither isolated nor misunderstood in future crises.